Today's AskReddit post. Fast food workers. What is yours, sir? This is a Wendy's moment. Oh boy, this is gonna be a good one. Let's get started. I work at a Chili's, and when I was hosting, old people would constantly come in and talk about how weird it was that we redecorated so suddenly and where did the salad bar go? They thought we were Sizzlers, which was 2 buildings away from us. Happened at least 4 times. I also work there and it amazes me that people make that mistake everywhere. I have people come in to pick up food and get incensed at the fact that we don't have their name on our list and we must have screwed up. Then I ask what is on their order and they rattle off food from the Outback, which is next door. They say nothing and walk out the door. Like I get making mistakes. But how do you miss a giant pepper on the side of the building expecting steaks with an Australian theme? First of all, duck you OP for making me relive this. Now, working at McDonald's, every single day at the same time. 1600 hours this old guy would come in and order his food. Most people knew that he wanted a special order. Overcook the shit out of the patty. Started up right when he walked in. Anyway, that's not the problem. That was easy. The problem is this dude was forgetful as all hell and would demand a ceramic plate to eat on every time. So that's when we would explain it to him. Dude, this is McDonald's. We don't have plates. And he'd usually be like, oh right. But sometimes he would just rant about how we should have plates. I saw him absolutely flip the duck out because a girl stepped outside the break room with a plate of food she brought from home. I knew you bastards had plates and could not convince him otherwise ever thereafter. Keep it in the break room is the moral of the story. Hey, weird question. I like when the English muffin of my sausage McMuffin is burnt. If I ask for it burnt, will they do that for me? Or will they just lick the sausage instead? Edit. Thanks to you all for the laughs and tips for ordering. You're all saints among men. Are you asking if a burnt English muffin is code for getting a blowjob? This is very good. Excellent. Really. It wasn't me involved, but I witnessed it. I worked at Burger King when I was a teenager. We are short-staffed one day, and the girl on the drive-thru was on break, so our manager stepped in to cover her. He was pretty old and didn't have the best hearing, so most customers were pulling around to the window to talk to him as he was struggling to hear through the headset. Anyway, this one guy rolls up to the window and shouts, "I want a large Big Mac meal with a Coke please." Is that so damn hard? My manager very calmly says, "My apologies sir, that won't be difficult." He leans out of the window and points down the road. There's a McDonald's about 3 miles in that direction. They'll be able to help. Have a nice day sir. Then he just closes the window and walks around the corner out of sight. I laughed so hard. This is the best one. Dude came to drive through. I opened the window. "Sir, how can I help you? I'm out of checks." He replies calmly, "Not sure I follow you." I say, "I'm out of checks." He says again more impatiently, "Right. I heard you, but I don't know what you want me to do about it. You can pay with cash or card too." Dude gives me a weird look, then says, "Oh, this ain't the bank," and peels out away from the window. I'm a pharmacist. Someone at that drive-thru is dealing and taking checks. More likely this is a passphrase. There was a guy dealing out of the McDonald's near where I used to work, and you had to order some weird combination of things to get your drugs. 100% accurate. One of my best friends used to sell cannabis from a drive-thru if people ordered the special X equals current month with a large drink. The drink cup held the weed. You should look into this more, Mr. or Ms. Pharmacist. I used to manage a Del Taco during my high school teenage years. We had an older man come in once a month and drive straight through the speaker to our window. At said window he'd look at me until I came over, start ordering Starbucks, then midway through realizing it was a Del Taco and drive off. Once a month. Every month. For 2 years. Worked at a Dairy Queen. Had a lady saunter in all frustrated, bag in hand, whipped out her receipt and without giving me much context said, "There's up to be a Baja Blast." I told her, "Ma'am, this is for Taco Bell." She quickly said my bad and sped out of the restaurant. I think she was making up a story and did it in the wrong store. Also the number of people who asked do you serve ice cream is way too duckin' high. Also the number of people who asked do you serve ice cream is way too duckin' high. Wait, do you mean that you don't? Worked at a small roadside produce place. My boss had a few different stalls, so I was often left to run the stall myself. I remember this lady walked up. Do you have any tomatoes? Sorry, we don't. But the place down the street has them. Then go there. But competitor has X is always my favorite. In any job ever. Why did you come here if there has it? Used to work at a sign shop. Well, I can get those same signs online for half that price. Okay, so order them. I'm not cutting my prices in half. Oh, is it because they take a week to ship and I can have them ready for your event tomorrow? People really do not realize how convenience is a huge part of the cost. I do entertainment lighting in NYC, and on one show wanted me to pick something up on the way into work. I gave them a $15 bill for the something, and a $40 bill for the cab. Sure, they could have ordered it online and paid basically nothing for shipping, but then they would have had to wait days instead of less than 12 hours. Edit. By gave them a bill I mean I gave my employer an invoice for the expenses I'd incurred shopping for them. Apparently a lot of people got confused. I used to make same day glasses, not for Luxottica. They were like $40 a pop. And holy shit, the amount of times I would get these lenses didn't cost you that much, so I shouldn't have to pay this, was astounding. No shit. But I cost that much. And I got them to you in 30 minutes. You weren't paying for the lenses, you were paying for me. It's not like I was folding a sweater back there. I took a clear hockey puck and turned it into your RX. In 30 minutes. For only $40. I don't give a shit if you could get cheaper online. If you didn't need them now you would have done that. Edit. The last time I worked there was this past March, but I got furloughed. And for fairness, this price is for single vision. Progressive was about $80. But places like mine do exist right now. Just stay away from Lux and you will probably get a good deal. Back when I was in fast food, I had someone who wanted me to remove all the sesame seeds from the top of a bun. The answer was no. Edit. Some people have discovered the solution we went with. 2 bottom buns. Also our solution for anyone with an allergy, etc. The crazy part wasn't wanting to avoid sesame. It was requesting a top bun with the sesame removed by hand. Should have just given them 2 bottom halves. Then it also solves the problem of when another customer comes in and asks for seeds on the bottom. Wait, I can have double sesame seeds this way? Wait, I can turn the burger upside down. And IT will still be upright. Dude, thank you so much. You don't know where the front of a burger is until you take a bite. Bites through the ducking center first. I worked at the concession stand at a movie theater in high school. This guy orders a popcorn and large Diet Pepsi, comes back to the counter like 10 minutes later complaining that his soda is carbonated. I explained to him that all of our sodas are carbonated and he asks me if we had a microwave. We did. So he wants me go into the back and microwave his soda. He wants it warm but not too warm. Went to the back and had to pour the soda into 2 different cups because the original wouldn't fit into the microwave. Truly bizarre experience. I don't drink anything carbonated, but this is the first time I've heard that microwaving gets rid of the carbonated part. So is it just sugar water left? CO2 dissolves better when it's cold. So warming up a soda does make it go flat. Gross. You all wouldn't believe the amount of disappointed rich people who come to Panda Express and find out we aren't serving authentic Chinese food. Once a well-traveled rich woman came into Panda Express and stood at the buffet line for about 10 minutes, critiquing our mistakes and explaining how Chinese cuisine doesn't actually have fried wontons with cream cheese filling. Mom, we just fry what came in the bag from a warehouse in California. I worked at a Chipotle for 4 years and got some pretty interesting requests. But I'll never forget the time someone ordered soup. Chipotle doesn't have soup. I promptly reminded her this was a Chipotle, but she insisted we could do it. So we made her soup a Chipotle. It was the grossest concoction of bean juice, sofritas, mild, medium and hot salsa, and sour cream. She was stoked. Lady, you're too high. I worked in a Jimmy John's. A dude in a military uniform came in asking about a military discount. Told him we don't give military discounts. To which he proceeded to flip out, pull out his phone and start recording a video, ranting about how we won't give him his military discount like he deserves. I had someone ask if we gave military discounts. The answer was no. The reason why it was memorable was because I live and work in Australia and he was an American. Even if we did give military discounts, it wouldn't be for a foreign country's military. Sir, this is Australia. Almost choked on my chip. I was the manager at an overnight shift at a burger place. Drunks were always trying to order pizza and other dumb stuff. One night a guy insisted he wanted a pizza, so I said alright, but it will be $100 and take like an hour. We was like cool, came around and gave me $100 at the window. There was 4 of us there, so I told the dude to park, sent a worker to the grocery store across the parking lot to buy a Red Baron, brought it back, cooked it in our oven, took out to the dude who had fallen asleep in his car. The 4 of us split the off of $95. I worked at a pizza place and I got a complaint that we delivered sushi. It was a pepperoni pizza, but he could not be convinced. Drugs are a hell of a drug. Pepperoni pizza would be terrible sushi, I'd complain too. I worked at Dunkin' and one time a customer came through the drive-thru and complained to us that the drive-thru was built in a way that made it hard to drive. She started yelling at my co-workers, so I just put down what I was doing and told her, "Mom, we cannot change the construction of the building." Like seriously though, what did she want us to do? I just make sandwiches. I work for an HVAC distributor. Of course, during COVID production has been low, so we were out many important parts. Had so many people call me and yell at me saying they needed this tomorrow. Dude, do you honestly want me to make the thing? We don't have it. Duck off. Yes. Been having this in engineering too. The factories worldwide have been closed. The part we need is waiting on people reopening those factories. No amount of yelling at me in Texas will get the factory in China or Slovenia to reopen, so please listen and we'll get you the part when everyone stops dying. Your Walmart will wait to be built until after the materials are available. Thank you. Not exactly a fast food worker, but I do work in a restaurant and people can get Deliveroo Uber Eats from us. A couple times a week a driver will show up and show us their phone with an order for a 12-inch sub. Yeah mate. That's the Subway across the street. We're a pizzeria. Read the address. God knows how they find the customers' houses. Almost definitely the Subway has their address listed wrong. I deliver for Uber Eats and the GPS takes me to the weirdest places sometimes. Last time I had an order from a Mexican restaurant and the app wanted me to drive to Chuck E. Cheese's. Chuck El Quizo's? Carlos de Quizo. Semi-related. Folks in the Taco Bell drive-thru asked, I shit you not, every day, how much are the dollar grillers? Every fucking day. When I was really young and had recently tried fried calamari, I confused it with the fried clam strips at White Castle. I was adamant that they had fried calamari and convinced my dad to order it for me at the window. They laughed at him. Why the duck does White Castle have fried clam strips? That's what I'm wondering. I'm not brave enough to try that. My family runs a concessions trailer at fairs. Lots of great stories, but this one always sticks out. We have a giant 16-bay steam table directly in front of the serving counter. It's old and some pans don't sit quite right, so there's always a bit of steam leaking out. Our trailer is built around one item, empanadas. Not really, but similar. The trailer is even called that. All the signs advertise empanadas in big letters. So one day it's like 90 out and sweat is just running off of all of us. We're packed. The line is running down the street. And we're 8 servers deep at the window. Customer comes up to the window. After standing in line for probably 15 minutes. Sees us with soaked shirts and headbands. Steam pouring out of the table and they ask, what flavors of ice cream do you have? What do you make that's similar to empanadas, but isn't? Pupusas? Pasties? Not fast food, but in the hospital. I had a patient throw her hospital toothbrush at me because it wasn't up to her standards and demand to be transferred to a better room with better service. Mom, this is a hospital, not the Marriott. We were super happy to offer her the form to leave AMA to aid in her quest for better rooms and better service. Let us know what you'll find. Lady, edit. Oh my gosh, thank you for the awards. I love almost all of my patients and will appreciate all the support we can get for healthcare reform in the US that will direct your healthcare dollars back to your care and help us have better patient ratios and more time to spend with each patient. XOXO. I often have this same experience. Get me a couple washcloths. And not ones that are all thin and worn out. Buddy, they're all the same. We don't keep the good washcloths hidden away for people with better insurance. I really wouldn't be surprised if you did keep better washcloths for better insurance. Those are for patients who have family members on the hospital board. Someone asked me what type of meat is on the grilled chicken sandwich. I responded muskrat. He didn't think it was very funny. I'ma do this one day if I'm taking orders and have the chance to do so at the Wendy's I work at. Don't work in fast food. This was an incident I was witness to. I go to KFC for dinner one night. The customer in front of me is ranting and raving at the clerk. I overhear a bit of the conversation, and the man is ranting at the clerk about the old NES game Castlevania 2. Customer, it was such a scam. The whole game was designed that you couldn't play it without buying the Nintendo Power Strategy Guide. Gen Z clerk, what's Nintendo Power? I could see the pained look on the clerk's face as she immediately regretted asking that. The man then launches into the history of Nintendo Power. Luckily, the clerk sees me and forms her exit strategy. Sir, you need to wrap this up. We've got a line forming. Dude sees me and has the decency to end his lecture and go wait for his chicken in silence. He's right though. The tornado in Castlevania 2 is some of the most cryptic shit ever in gaming. Like how the duck are you supposed to figure that out by yourself? No internet back then. It was ducking designed so you'd have to buy Nintendo Power. Nah, the real reason was because the translation was trash. In Japanese, there were still riddles, but not even half as cryptic. Konami made the game. Nintendo had nothing to do with it. So to say it was designed to sell NP subs is like accusing Wendy's of making a terrible Big Mac just to sell more Baconators. A customer called the store with a very specific request that I did my best to fulfill. She had her husband pick it up. He returned 20 minutes later with food thrown in a bag out of its container, then threw it across the counter at me. His wife called to tell me I would never amount to anything. I was on my final 2 weeks, so telling her to make her own dinner was particularly rewarding. This reminds me of when I was working at a grocery store. I was working produce, but the only floral employee also did 2 other jobs at the store, so she worked 6 too. Pretty inconvenient. On top of this, I closed produce alone pretty much every night, so I had to cover both because I had some experience with floral from my grandmother owning a flower shop. One day, this man comes in around 6 PM asking for help with floral. I go to help him and he hands me his cell phone. It's his wife, who wants me to make something like a bridal bouquet. In my head I'm thinking this is something you call about ahead of time. Plus this is a grocery store floral department. Goddamn. Anyway, I set about doing it. Takes me a little while but I get it done. Get it priced and off the husband goes. I go back about my job. Now behind because it was the after work rush. It's coming up on 8 PM and I'm getting ready to close down the salad bar when I see a teenager walk up with a fairly large bouquet. It takes me a couple of seconds and I realize it's the one I made a couple of hours ago, and he puts me on the phone with his mom who says it's not big enough. I can barely get my hand around this bouquet at this point, but I don't argue it. I basically throw some more flowers in there and say it's as good as it's gonna get. A customer asked for ice cream. I looked at my co-worker and we gave each a WTF look. I asked him to repeat his order and he asked for ice cream again until I had to say, so this is Tim Hortons. We don't sell ice cream. I'm pretty sure he was high. To be fair, my Tim Hortons has a Cold Stone Creamery in it. Yeah, a lot of them did. Sounds like this guy was just used to one that was It's not that exciting, but in my town we have 2 KFCs. One of them is a joint KFC A&W. I used to work at the standalone place and we would always have people try to order burgers, shakes, cheese curds and other A&W products because they didn't realize that they are different restaurants. Bro, you actually watched the whole video. I'd give you a high five if I was a human. Make sure to click the like button and subscribe for more great content. See you next time.